Late December of 2024 would find us visiting CPKC's Shreveport terminal on multiple occasions to observe operations within the city of Shreveport and its surrounding areas. The air is crisp and cool in the late morning hours of the 22nd. In Bossier City, a diverging approach indicates an eastbound within the block that has been ordered to take the siding that the railroad calls Foster's. KCS 4859, the silver-painted GEVO, would be on the point of daily stacked train I-168, bound for Atlanta. We would intercept the train on the west end of the Foster siding. KCS 4859 represents the Kansas City Southern Safety Program. Used to train both new and tenured employees, several training programs would be produced sporting the slogan, "Safety starts here." Foster's marks one of several ends of the Shreveport terminal. Here trains head on to the Vicksburg subdivision, half of the Meridian Speedway intermodal artery. Norfolk Southern haulage rights can be thanked for the common sight of black stallions on these stacked trains, just like the one trailing this one. After 168's tail end cleared, we'd work our way to Doremus Yard. We were immediately greeted with a southbound manifest departing the yard, making way for the Beaumont subdivision. This is train M280, which has just finished its work at the yard and will now begin its long trek to Mexico. With good light and a solid-looking leader, we elected to head south onto the Beaumont subdivision to intercept the manifest. At control point North Mansfield, a northbound grain has been waiting for the 280. This siding north of town was built last year to accommodate more traffic on the subdivision, especially with CPKC anticipating more increases in freight in the future years. Here we see KCS 5017 arriving to the siding where it will stick to the main line. This locomotive is one of 25 Tier 4 GEVOs ordered by the Kansas City Southern in 2019. These would be the last new locomotives purchased by the railroad. CPKC has purchased a handful of Tier 4s in recent months, which we will be seeing one in action later in this video. 280 is moving well below track speed here. The reason being is that a defect detector to the north picked up some type of issue. The train would conduct a slow roll-by so that the crew of the grain train and the siding could inspect each and every car. No issues were found, so the 280 would roll on. With lighting being awful for the time being, we'd leave the northbound behind and work our way back to Shreveport in hopes of catching a new CPKC painted Tier 4. There would be no luck for that day, but it wouldn't be long before we made another attempt. 1 week later, on December 29th, we'd be back on the Shreveport terminal, starting our day on Bostwick Road, just a few miles north of the yard. Train M263 slowly approaches as it will be coming to a stop. Bostwick Road is just south of where the double main line converges into a single track in Blanchard. To avoid blocking the crossings in town, the manifest will hold here until a southbound arrives. Six locomotives make up this colorful consist. KCS AC-44 locomotive number 4604 is leading a BNSF GE, a Retrobel SD-70 ACE, a Day Mexico AC-44 still sporting the battleship gray, a System Red Canadian Pacific unit, and finally another Retrobel in 6th. 263 has just been classified in the Shreveport yard and is making its way north to Kanoke Yard in Kansas City. The southbound train is M252, which will be terminating in Shreveport before being reclassified into 280. As it approaches, 4604 begins to roll out, so we would have a front row seat to a rolling meet. After the faded KCSM DPU cleared Bostwick Road, we'd move up to Blanchard and wait for another southbound. Racing through town would be a grain train at track speed with a 1x2 locomotive consist. Leading solo would be Canadian Pacific 8861, with the assistance of two KCS GEs pushing on the rear. Not long after, the Shreveport Terminal Dispatch would be calling a CP 7434. That number would in fact be one of the new CPKC painted Tier 4 locomotives. Knowing that that unit specifically has been captive to running up and down the Alexandria subdivision, we'd set up in Bossier City by Alexandria Junction. Within minutes of my arrival, the defect detector would sound off, and soon the fresh paint would come into view. With just seconds to spare, we'd beat the train to the well-known Wilson's Alley near downtown Shreveport. With our primary objective for these Shreveport visits finally accomplished, we'd make one more trip to the yard before calling it a day. At KCS Road on the north end, KCS 610 is seen working one of the many remote-controlled yard jobs. This old workhorse was built in 1967 for the C&W as an SD45. Retaining its outer body, KCS would rebuild the locomotive to SD40-3 specifications. To my knowledge, this is one of only two KCS SD40s with the 45 body left on the entire roster. The other has been on local service throughout different regions of Louisiana. As it shoves back into the yard, we notice that the signal bridge has activated and an approach is given on one of the main lines. Our final train of the video is seen just a few miles off. This is another southbound grain train with another KCS Tier 4 on point. I really hope that you've enjoyed this compilation of rail action around the Shreveport terminal. If you did, please be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. This is just the first of many good videos coming for 2025. I hope to see y'all tuned in for future productions, but until the next time, my friends, I'll be seeing you somewhere out there along the rails, and as always, thanks for watching.